Then a couple of texts on my phone came in rapidly, and I was pulled back to earth. I thought, well, maybe that's it for now. We can continue tomorrow. I looked at the time. It had been almost an hour. But again, I felt pulled right back in by the Holy Spirit to go back and not get distracted. So I went back. I then saw Jesus smiling at me and said, "There she is. She's back," as they all laughed. We began to walk down the street, and the first thing to my right was a chapel. It was very simple looking on the outside. We didn't go in, but I could see the inside with the eyes of my heart without even going in. It was beautiful. I sensed that each Heartdweller priest had their own custom altar whenever they performed the Lord's Supper there. I saw some citizens of heaven and the angels on a high-rise preparing for choir practice. They waved at me, and all of this I saw in the eyes of my heart without going inside. It is as if everything is transparent. I mean everything. Nothing is hidden. Then I felt a tap on my shoulder and turned around. It was St. Francis. I opened my mouth in excitement and hugged him. He still had his habit and tonsure, and his features I could see clearly. He had a sharp nose and large ears. His eyes too were so piercing. I realized everyone in heaven had those eyes. My goodness, it's as if they could see through your soul, because I think they can. But it's so full of love. It makes you melt with every look and every hug. We began to walk down Heartdwellers Lane, and near the chapel was a community house or convent with sisters in it. And St. Therese popped her head out and said, "Sister," running towards me and hugged me. All the other sisters in the convent waved out of various windows saying, "Hi, Mother Elijah." I then began to think of what Magdalene said, that each soul has different garments, and I then had a knowing that St. Francis, Papa Pio, and St. Therese had thrones in heaven as kings and queens, and looked much different when they were in their royal robes. St. Therese walked back towards the convent and waved back to me, going inside with the sisters. As we continued to walk, I saw many children running down the street, beelining straight towards us. When they got to us, they surrounded us with laughter and hugs, pulling on Jesus, Magdalene, Papa Pio, and myself. I looked to the Lord as if to say, "Where did all the children come from?" And he said, "These are all the children Heartdwellers have helped. They have been impacted by the ministry." There were so many children, laughing, jumping, and waving. I sensed that further down there had to be a home, or even community center on Heartdwellers Lane for the children. I had a knowing that Heartdwellers Lane was a really long street in the New Jerusalem. The children continued to laugh and dance around us with giddiness. Then they began to run back down the street. Then to my left, I saw two ladies walking, and I immediately knew it was Miss Betty, Mother Elizabeth's mom, who just passed away a few months ago, and her sister Kathy, who passed away last year. She looked just like Mother Elizabeth and had her ecstatic laughter with high rosy cheeks. I said, "Miss Betty!" She quickly posed by kicking her legs out to the side and putting her hands up, as Mother Elizabeth always does, as I laughed and she laughed as well. She pointed to their home, which was a big compound that they lived in together on the street. She and Miss Kathy hugged me. Miss Betty said, "Tell her we were rooting for her," with excitement, and they walked back to their home. I came out of the experience again, now in awe, wondering if all this was from the Lord. O ye of little faith. So I went to Bible promises. I got seeking God. I thought, Lord, I am with you. I asked again and got joy. I immediately felt the Lord was saying there was still more and to come back. So I decided to seek Him again and go back. Then I saw a young girl running towards us down the street, and she stopped right in front of me. Oh, she was beautiful and looked just like Ruth. I knew it was her daughter. She had her big smile and huge dimples. She had her hair in 2 long French braids and was about 12 or 13 years of age. She pulled my hand excitingly, pulling me away from the group. I began to walk hurriedly with her, and I looked back, and Jesus, Magdalene, and Papa Pio were all smiling, as if to say, "Go ahead." So we ended at a pretty large 2-story house. On the patio steps was Ruth's mom and dad. They were smiling with excitement, and little Jasmine stood in front of them as they held her shoulders. Her mom said, "I'm so excited to meet you, Mother Elijah." She hugged me with tears in her eyes and said, "Thank you for taking care of our Ruth. Thank you so much." I said, "She's a handful." They responded, "We know," and we laughed. Her dad too had tears in his eyes and said, "We made it here by the grace of God." I hugged her mother and nodded to what her father said, smiling, and in awe at their great humility and meekness. The Lord is so merciful, because Ruth's parents died when she was very young. Both of her parents had different addictions. She was raised by her aunt, and at a young age found herself pregnant and had an abortion. And now is meeting her beautiful daughter who grew up in heaven, and her wonderful parents who have been healed, restored, and made whole by the grace of God. Amazing. If you have family members who lived troubled lives and passed away, or you had an abortion, be encouraged and full of hope that God's mercy is able to reach them, and your baby will be there to greet you in heaven. Continuing on, Jasmine excitingly pulled me away again by hand into the house. She led me upstairs with great excitement and opened the door to one of the rooms. It was beautiful. Plush carpet with king-size bed with blue canopy with a golden crown embellishment above the canopy bed. It had huge windows and a balcony overlooking a garden. Throw pillows were baby blue, white, and yellow. Vanity mirror with a bench. Then she took me into the walk-in closet, filled with clothes, and had instruments that Ruth loves to play. Journals and feather-tipped pens and an array of color for her to write things. And by her bed were baby blue house slippers with feathers on top and a matching robe on the side of her bed. Then Jasmine smiled, saying, "I decorated her room for her and got all these things I know she would like. Do you like it?" I said, "This is beautiful. It's made for a queen." She then held my hand tighter, leaned her head on my shoulder in a sigh, and said, "Well, that is what she is to me, and to all of us." I then felt overwhelmed with emotion as tears came down my cheeks, and she said, "Please tell her to come visit me. Please tell her." I said I would tell her. She changed her demeanor very excitingly and pulled me away out of the room, saying, "I think Jesus is calling for you now." We went down the stairs hurriedly, and were met at the fence of their home with Jesus, Magdalene, and Papa Pio, who were smiling, knowing all that was said and took place. I looked back and waved at Ruth's parents and her daughter. We then began walking again. To my left was a high-rise, and I wondered whose place that was, and Jesus said it was Jim Lynn's, which was the wife of Father Jim. She also died just a few months ago. I was amazed and so excited to see everyone, my family, Brother John's mother, who's a member of our community, and whose mother died recently. I sensed that more family members of the community were waiting and excited to see me too. They had some things to say or show me for their loved ones here. I still hadn't seen my spiritual grandparents, Mother Claire's parents, and Father Ezekiel's parents. I sensed they were the overseers over everyone on the street. They tend to the needs of everyone like parents would, and I was excited to finally meet them. Then Jesus stopped and turned in front of me and said, "That is it for now, beloved. Write down everything you saw, and I want the entire community to come here, all Heartdwellers to come here, for it is readily accessible to all who would believe. Use the song and have all who would have faith be transported here." I then got the idea to share this with Mother Claire, and on Sunday have everyone go to Heartdwellers Lane to meet everyone. So I did exactly that. I shared this with the community, and everyone was inspired. Some cried, and all were so excited. We took our second Heavens trip as a community, and the experiences people had were amazing. I was crying in tears as some received healing by seeing loved ones who passed away and now had closure. And Deborah finally saw her sister Magdalene. I'll be sharing their experiences with you in the upcoming messages, as Mother Claire has asked us to do a new Chronicles of the Bride series. Family, heaven is just a thought away, as you enter into the eyes of your heart where Jesus dwells. This has been a long and hard journey for all his brides, and we need this to alleviate the harshness of life during our earthly exile. And the Lord has invited all heart dwellers to go there. He has given the grace. You just have to believe and respond. He mentioned for us all to use the song Transported by Kimberly and Alberto Rivera. I'll have the link to the song in the description. Please, if any of you have any heavenly experience using that song, would you please email it to us at heartdwellersghana@gmail.com. Mother Claire would like to begin the Chronicles of the Bride. We would love to include your experience on there as well. See you soon on Heartdwellers Lane.